Virtual reality is starting to pop up everywhere, from video games to training simulations to treating PTSD. Being brought up on the somewhat less technologically advanced side of the railway tracks, my first experience with VR was in a shopping centre booth. This particular one simulated a roller coaster ride in which you could choose from any number of themes from fun to horror, and I chose a mid-level thriller one. Now, as someone who is afraid of heights and pretty much all insects and arachnids, the two things I remember about this roller coaster ride were falling off the rails into the deep abyss of a dark cave filled with spiders, and the second thing, you guessed it, was spiders. Even though in the back of my mind, I knew that what I was seeing wasn't real, I was still reacting as if it was. So let's talk about immersion. Immersion in VR can be defined in many different ways, as while immersion is the main goal, it is highly subjective. In his book, The Re-Emergence of Virtual Reality, Evans describes immersion as the degree to which VR projects stimuli onto the sensory receptors of VR users in a way that is extensive, matching, surrounding, vivid, interactive, and plot-forming. He states that immersion isn't just given in an experience, it is achieved through a mixture of different elements including visual, sound, plot, and touch, as well as the overall mood and willingness of the participant to be immersed in the experience. Drawing back to my own experience, despite being in the middle of a shopping centre, this high level of immersion was achieved by use of headphones and goggles, as well as a seatbelt, handrails, small noiseless fans coming from the top of the booth, and the booth itself moving around. And whilst I was a little skeptical at first, the full-on nature of the experience meant I was fully swept up into the ride. However, a lack of any one of these would have resulted in the experience deteriorating into what is known as Uncanny Valley. In March, back when things were open, I visited a gaming arcade which had a different roller coaster VR ride on offer, except this one was from a younger demographic. Despite having a lot of similar elements to make the experience believable, like a handlebar and a roller coaster type seat, I did not find myself as involved in this experience as the previous one. To me, at least, the other elements, i.e. the visuals, the sounds, and the unrealistic animated characters, who were probably immortal since we ran over them at least 3 times, were not to a standard that I found could fully immerse me. Though, as previously stated, this VR experience was not designed for my demographic. Perhaps it would have immersed some younger children, or perhaps it would have immersed someone who wasn't my friend and our habit of not taking things too seriously got the better of us. Immersion in VR is very subjective after all.